Yesterday, I woke up to this Facebook message. Good morning, Kayla. Every iBuyer is crashing and burning, except you. Turns out an organic approach to flipping with agents at the forefront is the only sustainable model. Congratulations.
Woohoo! Yeah.
That's always that's
great
that's pretty
perspective.
cool.
Every iBuyer is crashing and burning is what the message said. Let's talk a little bit about what is happening with iBuyers right now.
Well, like before we do that, it's cool and weird all at the same time that now people are referring to us
As an iBuyer.
iBuyer.
As an iBuyer.
It's like a slowly dream come true.
Yeah, and it's actually it's Zoodealio is a place where every agent
Is an iBuyer.
Yep.
To be real. But yeah, we woke up yesterday. Redfin now announced that they are slashing Redfin now.
Yeah.
It's
Not
they're-
slashing.
Yeah, they were
they shut it down.
Shut it down.
Yeah, they were a
Shut it
smaller
down.
player in the space.
Fired
but-
264 employees that were all doing Redfin now. So done. They're donezo.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Super interesting.
Well, I mean, I'll pull out the biggest elephant in the room. How about Open Door announcing third quarter losses at $1 billion?
It was
$1
not
billion.
quite $1 billion.
Okay, $1 billion.
If you want to combine
Carry the-
OfferPad's losses,
Carry the two, round up. Just kidding.
900 and what 20
I forget what the exact number was.
$1
Roughly
billion.
$1 billion.
between Open Door
Insane.
and OfferPad. It was over $1 billion in quarter 3 losses.
But OfferPad lost 80 million.
Correct.
So far less.
compared to their market cap, OfferPad didn't do as bad as
They didn't.
Open Door
Why is that?
because they have agents at the forefront.
Exactly.
Well,
And they offer that flex, right? Like they
let's-
shifted and pivoted. Like
Tell them
that's-
about the was the revenue. From
yeah,
Flex?
if you look at OfferPad's reporting for quarter 3, 27% of their revenue came from their flex listing model. And so OfferPad has hedged
Yep.
heavily. And they're doing exactly what we teach.
Yeah, and depending on who's listening in the audience, what is the flex? Anybody want to speak to it?
I mean, that's basically what our dashboard is. It's the cash offer next to, hey, we can list your house.
Exactly, right? Simply put, they have a flex program that allows the OfferPad agent to come in and list your house. And part of that flex is they'll actually improve the property, making sure that it's beautified, for the market, so that it minimizes days on market, and it also causes the house usually to sell for top dollar per what's available per the comparables
I think
for
the
that.
problem
Well,
with
that
that,
might be
though-
the wait.
That's their model.
Quick note on that.
yeah.
That might be the marketing speak, but I don't think they're actually doing
No, they're
that.
not
I don't
doing
think
that
they're going
because these
in
people are
and
living in the
renovating
house
every
still.
home. Because you can look online and look at the photos, and that is
Yep.
definitely not.
No.
Well,
happening.
that is the marketing play.
Yes,
what I
that's
just
the
said.
marketing speak.
Yeah.
But it's the option. It's the option of meeting the seller at the kitchen table and saying, like, hey, here's your cash offer. Here's a way we could fix up your home and list it on the open market for more. Or we could just list.
So wait, let me understand this right. This real estate company that's publicly traded named OfferPad is leading with a cash offer and then pivoting to a listing in the event the cash offer doesn't work?
Sound familiar?
Sounds so familiar.
My Lanta, what an idea.
It's what we know is it's the best top of funnel lead generating strategy for sellers ever. That's
Yep.
the reality of it. But I think what's probably going through a lot of agents' minds right now is this is it. iBuyers are done. They're not going to survive. So let's talk a little bit about that. What do you guys think?
I think the marketplace is based on the consumer.
Yeah, I mean they still bought a bunch of homes in the quarter, so they're still buying homes. Consumers are still willing to sell to them, and they're at 60-70% on the dollar now, probably less, maybe 50-60 cents on the dollar. We're seeing some of their offers, their initial offers being
Low.
At our first payout on our Cash Plus. So consumers when they sell to us, they get that first payout, and then they have the opportunity to get that second payout once it's sold.
Yep.
Yeah, that's where I'm at with it. I mean, it was easy to be overzealous, when 99% of the time, regardless of what you bought the house for, it was going to resell for more. And the market switched so quick. Yeah, of course, now they're taking a loss, but they've readjusted and they're offering probably accordingly to where their current inventory that they're purchasing going to be reselling, it's probably going to be pretty unlikely that they're going to have if there's another loss that comes, it's their old inventory. I don't think that's going to happen with their new inventory.
Well, and I mean, if we look at historically, right, they were buying market share, right, where they owned so many properties that they were almost able to price that, right? With Zillow got busted for it, where they were doing that, and they have one low property and then they'd spin everything else up, elevating it because they own so much market share per a particular neighborhood area, right? Which is why they would focus on certain things. Well, I think that's also what bit them, which is what we were talking about, Kayla, in the last podcast, of where, here in the Phoenix metro, that the depreciation's is roughly 6% since the downturn. However, when you analyze it, that 4% of that depreciation was the 1,700 homes that Open Door owned inside that circumstance. And it's because they were buying the market, they were buying market share inside of that, and they were being able to set the price, right? Because that's where I think the general economics is going to come into play, because when they buy all the supply, they control the demand, and that's where I think that play bit them.
Well, that's what they thought, but what they did,
that was the play, is what I was saying.
Right, that was the play, and general economics, they did not factor in inflation. They did not factor in the Fed's persistent response to inflation.
Yep.
So there's been there's a class action lawsuit against Open Door right now from their investors, saying that they oversold their algorithm, that they failed to predict that prices were going to go down. When they sold their algorithm to investors, they said that their algorithm would be able to account for that. So they've been unable to predict future home prices.
Their AI, that they had all that. I remember watching a couple of podcasts around some of the devs talking about that whole piece. I found it very interesting, and especially like when we look back at when you pump $1 trillion or trillions of dollars of artificial capital into an economy, right? Which obviously was an attempt for COVID on all those things, but not going off on that tangent. Inflation is soon to follow, right? We knew this was going to come. I personally don't know if I thought that eggs were going to go up 300%, but the inflation is certainly a real issue right now.
So Zillow lost $400 billion, and that shut them down. And
right.
Open Door lost almost $1 billion, and they're still going.
But what do they do? What does Open Door do now? Well, they pivot, and so what they're doing now is they've opened up their exclusives platform, and their exclusive platform, it's beta-ing in Houston, Dallas, and Austin, and it's a marketplace where buyers and sellers can come together and transact without a real estate agent. And the interesting thing about their exclusives marketplace is it once was that any property that was in the exclusives platform was owned by Open Door. The differentiator now is that sellers can directly list their properties on the platform and receive offers from other buyers within their network. So I think Open Door, is it a little too late, right? Like, is this even, buyer demand is at an all-time low. Is this a little too little?
I wonder how that's going to factor with the fair cooperations thing, right? Because it's still an ad hoc, ultimately, where that is.
Our managing broker, John, figured it out in 2 seconds. He says all you do is you open 2 brokerages. You have one brokerage that's not a part of MLS. You have one brokerage that is a part of MLS.
Yep, that makes
and you
sense.
run everything through the brokerage that's not a part of MLS. Yep. And that's where the exclusive platforms
are sitting.
So, agents want to argue, oh, you can't do this. It's not clear cooperation. They think differently about everything than all of us.
Yep.
Right? Like, they find the loophole.
There's always a loophole. Hey, but here's the thing. MLS is, they're money motivated, right?
They sure as hell are.
They're a profitable company.
It is a for-profit organization.
So will they let this happen? I don't know. If it gets bigger,
I can see a lawsuit happening.
They start selling a bunch of houses on their exclusive, and they see them also, utilizing the MLS. Will they allow them to do that?
Yeah.
Is this a play by Open Door? Do they think that NAR is going to get just clamored, and there's going to be something that comes out that says you can no longer, like one of these lawsuits prevails, and now you can no longer pay a buyer's agent by taking a listing commission, and Open Door is positioning themselves for that? Like, is this strategic? Are they thinking ahead to that? Because we know that one of the biggest cases on that, and Big Tobacco are the attorneys representing the plaintiffs. And they took down Big Tobacco.
I know.
They can take down NAR.
Oh.
Like it can happen. I know people don't give a crap about it. They don't even think about it. But we really should be thinking about it. Is Open Door thinking about it? Are they thinking like, well, in a scenario where you can no longer pay a buyer's agent, what's going to happen? Well, more buyers are going to be out there online without agents trying to find deals. So is Open Door positioning? I don't think they are personally, but I think it's an interesting thought. But I don't think that's why they're doing it.
Yeah.
Definitely interesting.
Well, the other thing too, I think that hasn't been talked about that much that's really important in the iBuyer movement is Zillow and Open Door.
Yep.
Partnering. I know we talked about it and obviously brought it to the forefront. I don't know what the traction around it all has been. And I, for one, right, like I get it that Open Door is publicly traded. I get it that the shares have been obliterated, right? If that's even the proper terminology. But is also look at who some of the largest owners and stakeholders are, right? With one of them being SoftBank, right? Like I think that there's still a ton of money, a ton of influence in that particular space. And, at the end of the day, like I said before, this is why I was so quick to answer that the consumer is the one who decides, because that is the market, right? And when you have so much uncertainty and so much demand for convenience still out there, the iBuyer still supplies that, which is why in a lot of the iBuyer markets, you're not going to see the cash offer requests fall, right? And think about yourself. If you were a business and if you got a shake or a stab at half of the business that was going to transact, how much more conservative could you be in that particular circumstance? Which is why I think they're going to be okay. I mean, it's ugly right now. But I think they're going to learn from this and personally come back bigger and better. That's my prediction.
So does Redfin now partner with OfferPad
to
fulfill offers? I mean, we know that when it comes to seller lead generating, the value on your home, an equity report, whatever you want to call it, or a cash offer.
I don't know.
Which one are you going to seek out first?
We're agent centric. Maybe we should go partner with a Redfin.
Maybe.
Let's reach out to Glenn.
Sellers don't want to list their home. They want to sell their home.
Yes.
And so if you want to sell your home, wouldn't you rather see what your cash offer is over what an agent can list it for?
Yeah. It's the whole point of it.
Right? They're doing Twilight photos though. And aerials too. They got their Matterport.
One of my favorite data points on this that I think that we forget to bring up was when we did a lot of the research on this, right, was actually the car industry, right? It wasn't all that long ago that a lot of people would sell their cars themselves, the auto traders, etc.
Yeah, remember how you'd call the photographer to come out and take a photo of your car,
or you drove to the facility,
or you drove to the facility and take a picture of your car.
We're now 85%. It's higher than that. 85% of used cars are traded in. Insane. Right? It took a little bit for it to happen, but the consumer mindset around it shifted.
Even though it's easier than ever to sell your own
car. If you could actually go to the dealership, trade in your car, and get that first payment, and then once they resold that car, they gave you all the upside
of the profit.
That's what our product does.
That would be badass, Jay.
I've told that story to a few agents, and then they get it. It clicks to them like, oh yeah, I've traded in a car before, and I know that they're making money off that car, and if they gave me the upside once they resold it, that would be kind of cool.
Hell yeah, dude.
Same concept.
Well, the used car industry, right? I mean, total little sidebar, but it crushes it, right? Like there's
there's margin there. There's margin there, right? Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, let me ask you guys this. So the other things we haven't talked about is Compass, right? Which is kind of a tech-based platform. Real was another one that took a hit with a lot of the stuff that's going on. There's so much tech in the space, right? So what like. And I realize that there's a lot of these different solutions. There's a lot of this, bundled services, and it's all based on the amount of transaction count, right? Like at the end of the day, that's the number one governing dynamic is how much currency is flowing through certain things. And when transaction counts are down, roughly 20%, that's probably that profit margin, right? Like that's the difference between red and black. I don't know. That was my. That wasn't really a question, but I wanted to see what you guys thought about that ultimately.
It's a statement. All right.
Yeah.
That's your statement, Elliot.
That was a crappy question, Elliot. What do you mean?
Thanks for that value add, Elliot. I'm trying to figure out what to grab onto here.
Wait, hold on. Let me reposition. Let me rethink that.
Compass. I don't know why I'm I like Robert Revkin. I like what Compass
Smart
is
dude.
doing. They have great branding. I don't know why though. I don't know why I'm not super excited about them.
Because they bought agents.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. They bought agents.
Like, how hard is
and-
it to grow as fast as they did when they gave decent producers
remember we were-
$50,000 checks?
We talked to people about that, and I went to Compass because they
gave me 50 grand.
No, even more.
Yeah.
It's quite a bit more. on
right,
some
a
of
few
them.
people in New York that
Yeah,
we know. Mhm.
yeah, and it's like wow, like
It's pretty shocking.
yeah, and they got to keep a lot of their the 100% type of commission models, but now if you read some of what they're doing, they're also raising those commission splits slowly. They call it easing into commission splits, like so they're slowly like raising them on people, and eventually what'll happen? Will some of these teams leave, which I know a lot of them have, but yeah, how's that model gonna hold up? Because you say it's a tech company, but I have yet to see anything tech come out of Compass. I mean, I don't know.
They
what kind of
employ
tech they
like
have.
1,000 developers too. It's
Yeah,
some
and-
obnoxious.
Still?
Well, they did. I don't know if
Okay.
they do still.
Wow, that's
But
that's
it's like,
shocking.
okay, well, if you have a workforce of developers at this, where's your technology?
Yeah, yeah.
Are they all just systems integrations? They're integrating like
You're-
one thing
you're
to another.
1,000 devs doing agent landing pages. I don't get it. So, gosh, that's the other thing I wanted to ask you guys about right now is like, where do you think that these like CEOs, right? Like, so like take an EXP, right? Take so many of these models that are all agent based, right? Like their financial models are based on agent body count, right? And like I said, I know I talked about this a couple weeks ago as well, but the Great Recession, right? We saw agent count drop by 35+%. I forget what the exact ratio was. And if we stay at some of this same pace, right? Like I know everything's based on, dollar volumes, and due to the lack of inventory, we're not projecting anywhere near the depreciations. It doesn't have anywhere near the BS of the Great Recession. But if there's less transactions to be had, right? Agents can't survive, and they're just less paychecks out there as far as that
Right.
goes. So what's your guys' thoughts on what our 1.5, 1.58 amount of agents? What do you guys think that could fall to?
I don't know. I don't care. To be real, I could care less what it falls to.
Okay.
What I know is that if you want to be one of the ones remaining, and if you want to build a sustainable business, you got to be visible. You got to be pumping out content. You got to be taking action daily. You got to be open to new additional ways to get business, and you've got to have options and offers for your consumer. It's no longer a one-size-fits-all approach. It's multifaceted, and the agents that can get on board with that and adapt and really, I hate to say it because I know that hustle is getting a bad rap right now. Like it seems like everybody's against hustle culture, but the reality is if you want to do big things, you're going to have to work really hard.
I'm totally not against hustle culture, and that's why I asked that, right? Because I think right now is the time for the pros, the people that work their asses off, to go out there and crush it. There's as much opportunity out there now as there's ever been.
There's more opportunity.
Yeah, okay,
in a down
more.
market.
I agree. I agree.
Absolutely more, because it's the competition just will die.
Just like you said, the herd will thin.
Exactly.
What
And
does
the
that
cream will
number?
rise to the top.
Yeah, what does it get to? I don't know. I'm sure NAR cares.
I'm sure MLS cares.
NAR they're running like algorithms and like predictive analytics. Like what's
totally.
our agent count going to go to?
Well, we know there's always an ebb and flow, so regardless of what it goes down to, I'm sure there'll be a point where maybe it goes back up again. So
Yep.
Oh, for sure. It's the next cycle.
Yeah, and you think of all those agents that are going to fall out. They had clients that in the past, and those clients are going to obviously buy and sell at some point,
Of course.
and they're all up. They're game for picking them up. So
Yeah. It's inevitable.
opportunity
Every
out
house
there.
will eventually sell.
yep.
yep.
It's just so here's the question. Will agents maintain relationships at a capacity where they can continue to get repeat and referral business? because I was recently diving into the Consumer Housing Trends Report, which showed that sellers and buyers are now less likely to use an agent that was referred to them. They're less likely to use the same agent again. And the reason why is because they're more likely to use an agent that they found online.
Online, yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So,
Or these companies.
and that's what I think it is. I think that it's these companies, 100%. It's them, and they're maybe being connected to that agent somehow. It may not be that they found that specific one. They may have found the open door and then got referred out, or found the offer pad, or found. So I think that the question is, and it always has been in real estate, will agents do what it takes to build and maintain relationships over time and not be so myopic in their view of their business? Because I think that they're very short, a lot of them. Many are long-term thinkers, but a lot of them are very short-term thinkers, and they don't think past next year or the year after or the year after.
Well, and I mean, I think still one of the biggest issues in our industry, right, is marketing to them as their faces on a bus or a park bench, a billboard, whatever else, right? Which instead of it being about serving, and offering, what problem are they solving, right? I think that's one of the biggest issues in our particular industry, right? Which is why the value sometimes by the consumer is not seen by the agent, is because the problem that they're solving is not being focused on.
Good point.
I agree. And spoiler alert, when you're selling a home for a seller, you may think that the only two things they care about are your commission or the price that you're going to get them, but that is not true. They definitely care about certainty. They definitely care about convenience.
Yep.
And so are you going to give them those options and let them weigh it economically?
Especially in this market.
Exactly. It's a must.
Yep.
Definitely something we're excited that we have here. Hey, if you've been listening along to the iBuyer experiment and you're curious what Zoodealio does, or how you could implement this in your business, we'd just love to invite you to attend one of our live demos. We do them multiple times a week. You can hop on our website. There's a little button that says watch a live demo. Click it, register for it. We'd love to have you on. We'd love to show you what we got here. We just did a massive update to our offer dashboard. It's super cool. It's really fun.
Instant offers, baby.
Yeah, so I think you're going to like it. And let's just kind of summarize. What do we think? Open Door, Offer Pad, are they going out, or are they going to make it?
I think they're going to make it.
Gonna make it.
50-50.
Ooh, interesting.
50-50. Yeah.
At this point, because there's the market. It depends on, really, for me, it depends on if the stock market, how bad the stock market gets.
That's valid.
We have capitulation.
Valid.
They could get to the point where there's just no more money. So I don't know.
They pause.
Yeah,
That'd
we'll
be
see.
wild.
I guess unless those investors start pumping in more, like, no, we can't let that happen, which that could happen too. So who knows?
Which I believe that's even a bigger opportunity for agents if they did go out of business, because now.
Well, the consumers
still want that.
Exactly. That's not ever going to go away.
You can't close the box, right? It's open. People know that, hey, there's I can sell my house for cash, and so they're going to still want it, and there's still going to be investors out there that are willing to do it, and there's different ways to do it, and that's what we're doing here at Zoodealio, and we feel like it's the better way.
Yeah, the demand for it is certainly not going anywhere.
No.
Yeah. Hey, last thing, don't forget to like, subscribe, give us a positive review, write something down, take that 2 seconds to hit the thumbs up, 5-star, whatever it is. If you're finding value in this, don't be afraid to tell an agent friend or a loan officer friend about us as well, as we want to continue to share the knowledge and help it grow.